Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, chapter 15, text number 18. Yasmat ksharamati aksharapi chotamaha atosmi loke vidicha pratita purushotamaha Yasmat ksharamati aksharapi chotamaha
Atosmi loke
vede cha pratita purushotamaha
Yasmat sharam atitoham
aksharat api chotamaha atosmi loke vede cha pratita purushotamaha
Yasmat Sharamati
Yasmat ksharamati
Aksharat api chotamaha.
aksharapi chotamaha
Atosmi loke vedecha.
Pratita
Pratita Purushotama.
Yasmat ksharamati toham aksharapi chotamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushotamaha Yasmat, because ksharam, the fallible, atitaha, transcendental, aham, I, aksharat, from the infallible, api, better than that, cha, and, uttama, the best, ata, therefore, asmi, I am, loke, in the world, vede, in the Vedic literature, cha, and pratita, celebrated, Purushottama, as the Supreme Personality. Translation: because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The particular word Uttama used here is very significant. No one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, neither the conditioned soul nor the liberated soul. He is therefore the greatest of personalities. Now it is clear here that the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead are individuals. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word loke is also significant because through Paurusha Agama, Smritis, Vedic literatures, the Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect as Paramatma, expands the purpose of the Vedas. This is stated as follows: Lokyate Vedarto Nena. The following verse also appears in the Vedas. Tavat Esha Samprasado Smach Charirat Samudhaya Param Jyoti Rupam Sampadyasvena Rupena Bhinis Padyate Sa Utamaha Purusha. The purport of this verse is that the super soul, after coming out of the body, enters into impersonal Brahmajyoti, and then in his form remains in his spiritual identity. That Supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is diffusing his spiritual effulgence, and this is known as the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality exists also in a localized aspect as Paramatma, and by incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashara, he is expanding the Vedic knowledge as Vyasadeva. Om Agyan Tirinandasya Gyanajana Shalakayam Chakshunan Meditam Yena Tasmai Guru Tasmai Shri Guru
Shri Gurave Namaha.
Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master, Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, has opened my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances unto his lotus feet. So, it is quite a complicated passage. Can you read, what does it say there? Especially this
There was some
portion about the Purusha Agama Smritis.
mesh up here. Where it is different. The difference is that the living entities, either in the conditioned state or in the liberated state, cannot surpass in quantity the inconsumable potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is incorrect to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects. There is always the question of superiority and inferiority between their personalities.
Why, this is
Yeah,
from
this
the
was-
previous purport.
No. Well, you asked me to read this one. Maybe. This you didn't read because it's not there.
Yeah, that's the end of the last purport. Therefore, it is never useful to think of the Supreme Lord and the living entities as being on the same level or equal in all respects.
Yeah, well, here it's in this book. Then the Agama.
Okay?
The word Loke signifies in the Paurusha Agama, the Smriti scriptures. As confirmed in the Nirukti dictionary, Lokayata Vedarto Nena, the purpose of the Vedas is explained by the Smriti scriptures. The Supreme Lord, in his localized aspect of Paramatma, is also described in the Vedas themselves. The following verse appears in the Vedas, Chandogya Upanishad. Tavadesha samprasado smascharitat samuthaya param jyotirupam sampadya svena rupenabhi nishpadete sautama purusha. The Supreme coming out of the body the super soul coming out of the body enters the impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Then in his form he remains in his spiritual identity. That Supreme is called the Supreme Personality. This means that the Supreme Personality is exhibiting and diffusing his spiritual effulgence, which is the ultimate illumination. That Supreme Personality also has a localized aspect as Paramatma. By incarnating himself as the son of Satyavati and Parashara, he explains the very knowledge as Vyasadeva.
Mm-hmm. So here it says, in his localized aspect, this Paramatma expands the purpose of the Vedas. This is quite difficult to decode from the... I was trying to find that shloka also, Lokyate Vedarto Nena. Is it the Paramatma that expands the purpose of the Vedas, or Vyasadeva, or is it the Smritis?
Vyasadeva wrote Smritis.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the Paramatma.
Yeah, it's the because we know that the spiritual master is the external manifestation of the Paramatma.
The purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna.
Hmm?
Purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. And he expands the purpose of the Vedas.
Ah, okay, the purpose, yeah. But I'm just thinking because it, in his localized aspect as Paramatma expands the purpose of the Vedas. So that was in the manuscript, or actually this is already the transcript. There's a manuscript and there's a transcript.
Well, Paramatma, it gives you the understanding ultimately. No. when you are to understand Krishna, you must be assisted by Paramatma. You can understand.
Okay.
That is the purpose of the Vedas,
Yes.
to understand Krishna.
Uh-huh.
So it is expanded by Paramatma in every living entity.
Okay. Well, what is your point?
No, I'm just like elaborating on that what you read, that the Paramatma expands the purpose of the Vedas.
Say it again. How?
The purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna.
Yes.
So Paramatma in the heart of every living entity, when he facilitates the realization in the living entity, like the revelation,
Mm-hmm.
expands the purpose of the Vedas
Okay.
from the consciousness of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I would
Mm-hmm. Okay.
explain it like that.
Okay, that's makes sense. So previously we discussed the fallible and infallible living entities, and then the Krishna also says besides these two there is the supreme Godhead, supreme personality of Godhead. And here Krishna admits, he says that I am that supreme Godhead. They were arguing with Prabhupada. The Christians, they say that Jesus is God. Lord Jesus, he says a few statements that are kind of difficult to understand. He says, me and my Father are one, and similar things. So Prabhupada, he responded, he says that no saintly person will say like that I am God. Why would he say like that? No saintly person will say that I am God. So here Krishna says, I am God. Very openly he says, I am God. And not just Krishna says like that, but Arjuna also admits, yes, you are the Supreme Lord. And great sages like Narada, Vyasa, Asita, Deva, like that, they also confirm. So the incarnation of God must be authorized also by the Vedic evidence. Not that anyone will say, I am God. Even Krishna quotes the Brahma Sutra in the Bhagavad Gita. He says that this idea of simultaneous oneness and difference of God is explained in the Brahma Sutra. So even Krishna gives the evidence of the Vedas. He says that those who do not accept the Vedic scriptures, those who do not accept the authority of the Vedas, for them there is no happiness in this world or the next. The Vedas are the standard knowledge. Yes, we might have some realization, and definitely that connection with the Super Soul is required. We must follow the dictates of Krishna from within also. But that is secondary. First, we have to understand Krishna from the source of the spiritual master. We have to surrender to the spiritual master and hear from him about Krishna. Otherwise, when there's no guidance, when there's no standard, any nonsense can say, oh, God told me this. God is within. Oh, I listen to God within. another smashing argument by Srila Prabhupada. They would challenge that, oh, you have not accepted Jesus Christ in your heart. You might be following all the principles of Christian religion. You don't steal, you don't kill, very good. But you have not accepted Jesus in your heart, so it doesn't count. So Prabhupada argues, well, if you accepted Jesus in your heart, then your heart will be purified. But the fact that you're committing sinful activities means that you have not accepted. You say that we have not accepted, but we said that you have not accepted. You're just posing that I am follower of such and such. But you're killing so many animals. So this is very important. There's been so much emphasis given to this idea of just listen to yourself. Who started this philosophy? Do you know? Listen to yourself, don't accept any guru. Who started? Who was that person who started this fashion? Because it's very fashionable, right? Listen to yourself, think for yourself, don't listen to anyone else. You are your own master. Huh? No. Even Maganchu doesn't know. Who started this? Who was the founder Acharya of this philosophy? Wrong. Lord Buddha. Paramamsa, first class. That's it. Lord Buddha started this. Lord Buddha is Krishna himself for a specific purpose. That is also mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is that purpose? Do you know what is that purpose? Why Lord Buddha started this philosophy? What does Bhagavatam says?
Why?
Why, yeah. There's a particular shloka, 1.3.24. Third chapter, 24th verse. Prediction of Lord Buddha in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
I don't know if he mentions that they were killing. I don't know.
Yes, yes, you're right. But that shloka specifically says that he came to bewilder the atheist, to cheat them. Because the atheist, they don't want to follow any authority, right? That we know. Nothing new there. But they were killing so many animals. So Krishna very intelligently empowered Buddha to appear. And Buddha's philosophy is exactly this atheism. He would say, don't follow me, what I say. I simply show you the path, but don't follow me. This is cheating. Because if you're not supposed to follow Buddha, then why is Buddha teaching? It's a contradiction. Don't follow any authority. There is no gods. Don't follow any god. Prabhupada met this representatives of Dai Nippon, this company that was printing in Japan the books. That's how you pronounce it? Okay, Brahmananda pronounces it Dai Nippon. Brahmananda. So they were Buddhist. And Prabhupada was arguing on this point. And he said, he was preaching there is no God, but he himself was God. And the Dai Nippon representative, they were protesting. No, Buddha is not God. And Prabhupada said, when I say God, I mean the leader. And he translated it for them. When I say God means the chief. He's the chief of your religion. So they said, okay, yeah, that's true. So he's God for you. See, the atheist will not accept God, he will not accept Guru, he will not accept any authority. So stubborn. So that's why Krishna appears as Buddha, and he's teaching exactly what the atheists want to hear. There is no God. You follow your own voice. You are yourself an authority. And as soon as he attracted them, oh, I like this Buddha, very nice philosophy, oh, very good. Reject the Vedas, kick out all the scriptures. Oh, the atheists, they liked it very much. So when he attracted them, when they become attracted, oh Buddha, you are a very nice teacher. What can we do for you? Then he said, just don't kill the animals. Oh, sure, no problem. We don't kill the animals. This is the trick of Krishna. Because a person who is addicted to animal killing cannot understand anything about the soul. That is why the teachings of Buddha do not explain anything about the soul. He simply explains about the combination of material elements, the 24 elements of the material creation. He speaks about it. But there's no mention of the soul in Lord Buddha's teachings. Those who say that Buddha is teaching about the soul, they're bogus. They're cheating. Simply the elements, they come together somehow or other. No explanation is given. Somehow or other the body is formed together for no reason. And this creates dukkha, suffering. When the elements are dispersed, you achieve nirvana, no more dukkha, your problem is solved. That's it. That's the whole philosophy. You're suffering, now eliminate existence, no more suffering. That's it. That's Buddhism in a nutshell. So, when they stopped killing the animals, their brains became qualified to understand higher teachings. Then Shankaracharya comes. Who is Shankaracharya? You know?
Chief or the person?
Very good, yes. And what is his philosophy? How did it differ from Lord Buddha philosophy? How was it different?
But at least the Mayavadi concedes the impersonal aspect, the Brahmajyoti,
What is Brahmajyoti?
the full sense of Krishna. At least,
No, they don't accept Krishna.
well, not like Krishna, but like the Brahma,
What is Brahman?
but the absolute truth.
That's the aspect of the absolute truth. Yeah, but what is it?
And the body is
It's the spirit. Brahman is the spirit. Aham Brahmasmi. He was teaching Shankaracharya.
and the Buddhist doesn't accept the spirit.
Who?
The Buddhists.
Yeah, they don't accept the spirit. Exactly. Yeah, that's the difference. So Shankaracharya introduced the idea of soul or spirit, spiritual, something transcendental is there. And he also brought people back to the Vedas. Come back to the Vedas. Let's go study the Vedas again. So everything is very nicely planned out. Anyway, now Krishna says, I am the Supreme Lord. I am the greatest. Because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Here directly, Krishna says, I am God. It's a bold statement. The Lord Jesus doesn't say that I am God. He says, me and my Father. Right? He makes a distinction. How can you say, I am my Father? Is it any logic? I am my own Father. Is there anyone here who is his own Father? That he gave birth to himself? Is it any sense? There's no sense in it. So, me and my Father are one means one in quality. Nitya nityanam chetanas chetananam. There is the supreme conscious, Krishna, and there's the minutely conscious, the jiva, the spirit soul. He is supremely eternal, we're minutely eternal. Our eternal aspect can become covered by the temporary matter. Krishna can never become covered. How is that? Why Krishna cannot be covered at any point?
He's outside.
Is outside? Where outside? He's inside but cannot be touched, you said?
Cover.
Cannot be covered. Inside of what?
Because he's the source of everything.
He's the source of it.
Cannot be affected by anything in this way.
Yes, he's the absolute. He's everywhere. He's inside and he's outside. And that covering, the Maya potency, that is also Krishna. So Krishna can only be covered by Krishna himself. That means that he cannot be covered. He is everything is Krishna. Krishna expands into everything. Even that Maya is also Krishna's energy. Yeah, the Maya is not our energy. That is our foolishness. We think, oh, this is my energy. We're simply borrowing. We're borrowing these elements. These elements, they come together. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the material body is built. Like the parents, they give us our body. They give the body, they take care of the body, they maintain the body, they protect the body. That's why the parents are worshipable. But the parents are also not the origin. Because their bodies that gave birth to our body is also coming from their parents. And their body is from their parents. Ultimately you come to Krishna. Janmadi yasayataha. That's a very simple definition of God. The father of your 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 father. You go, that is Krishna. Ultimately you come to the final father. Prabhupada Mantami defines God like this. We all have a father. Every conditioned soul, every soul has a father. So if you find such a gentleman that you ask him, do you have a father? And he says, I don't have a father, that is God. Very simple. Simple evidence and definition of God. God is a person who doesn't have a father. But of course we know that Krishna also has a father. He's so intelligent. Krishna is so intelligent. Although he doesn't have a father, still has a father. Nanda Maharaj is there, or Vasudeva. This is not that Nanda Maharaj or Vyasadeva are the origin of Krishna, but from the pleasure point of view, Krishna wants to enjoy that relationship of being father to someone. So he exhibits such relationship with the devotees, pure devotees. So our illusion is that we think that, oh, this is my energy. Although I'm borrowing all these elements, we think it's my body. Sometimes women, they say, oh, I can have abortion because it's my body. I can decide whatever I want with it. You cannot interfere with what is going on in my body. So that is not so. We are borrowing. It's a borrowed body, and the proprietor is Krishna. Krishna has given us, borrowed us this body, so we render some devotional service. So if these energies are used for Krishna, then that energy will liberate us. The same body will be, right now the body is the cause of misery and bondage. The soul is trapped in the body. But we don't try to eliminate the body. This is not the philosophy that eliminate. That the Buddhists, they have this idea. Nirvana means cessation of material. They say, what do they say? The flame that is extinguished. That's how they define nirvana. So that is not our philosophy, to destroy the body, finish. Now, use the body for Krishna's service, and then the body revives its spiritual nature, spiritual connection with Krishna. That body will be the tool for your liberation. We need the body to render service to Krishna. Just like now, we're going to worship Lord Jagannath, or we're reading, or playing instruments, or cooking prasadam. You need the body. If you are sick, if you have some problem, then your service will be disturbed. Of course, you can serve without any conditioning. If you're serious, you can serve in the mind. There was this Brahman, you know the story? The Brahman who tasted the sweet rice. He didn't taste it, but he tasted through touch. He was hearing some Srimad Bhagavatam was going on, some katha. And there the speaker explained that one can serve Krishna even within one's mind, because devotional service is not bound by any material laws. You can also serve Krishna within your mind. So he was a very poor Brahmin. So when he came to his kutir, he started this meditation. It's called Manasa Seva, the service in the mind. So in his mind, he would bring all the sacred water from the Ganges, from Yamuna, from all these sacred rivers. He would go in his mind and collect. He could cross distance, millions, I don't know, thousands of kilometers across India to get one sacred river to the other one, like that. And he would bring nice golden utensils or something like that, brass, very nice pots, first class. Paramahamsa would love these pots. And then he would collect the first class milk and first class rice, and he would start making the sweet rice. All in his mind. So then he would finish the cooking, and he would let the sweet rice cool off. All in his mind. And would wait. And then he wanted to test whether the sweet rice is cooled off, because he's supposed to take the sweet rice or offer the sweet rice to Krishna cold. Should be like ice cream, not that there's ice, but it should be like a cold sweet. So he touched with his finger, all in his mind. And when he touched, he burned his finger. He woke up from the trance and he saw that his finger was red. See, the body corresponds to our mental absorption. So then Narayan actually, he saw this, and he took this Brahman back home, back to Godhead, because of his intense absorption in service. But it is not so easy to develop such intense meditation. This is pretty much samadhi. Samadhi, the continuous meditation, uninterrupted meditation. So, in the preliminary stage, we have to engage the limbs, the legs, the arms. We have to do some menial service. Engage the senses in the service of Krishna. The senses are always looking for sense gratification. So if you just sit down and you try to meditate with your mind, the senses will drag you down. Right? So we have to work with the body. We don't try to destroy the body. We have to preserve it. It's a very valuable tool, a very valuable instrument. Just like the harmonium. Of course we can chant, even without the instruments. We can go out and clap with our hands. But we like the mridanga, we like the harmonium, we like the kartal. It adds to the ecstasy. Why should we be so nonsense? Oh, I don't want any instruments. The Maha Mantra is the purest. Oh, you are in Maya, you're playing instruments. You want to enjoy sense gratification of melody. No, we're not like that. Everything has a relationship with Krishna, so everything can be dovetailed in Krishna very nicely. The Mayavadis, the impersonalists, Shankarites, They're against music, they're against dancing, and they're against prasadam. That's how you distinguish the Mayavadis. When you see someone is blaspheming prasadam, or someone is against the instrumentation during the kirtan, criticizing the instruments, criticizing devotees for chanting nicely from their heart, you know that he's a Mayavadi. Mayavadi nonsense. He didn't understand what this Krishna consciousness movement is. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was such a revolutionary preacher. He was the first sannyasi who would travel in a car. This was considered to be a great taboo. A sannyasi traveling in a car, sannyasi is supposed to be very austere, go everywhere by walk. And Bhaktisiddhanta bought a car in the 30s, and he would go to Radhakund in his fancy car, and he would preach there to the Babajis. Unbelievable. But this is the principle of what is called a yukta vairagya, the practical renunciation. If you renounce something that could be used for Krishna, just like this body, the body could be used for Krishna very nicely, but you renounce it. Oh, body is Maya. I will torture the body just so I can become great Hiranyakashipu, Mr. Austerity. Then your renunciation is incomplete. It is not renunciation. You might renounce so many things. You might renounce sex life. You might renounce food. You might renounce sleep. You might renounce so many things. You might renounce devotional service. Why not? It's Maya. You might be thinking like this. But one thing that you don't want to surrender is your false ego. I am important. Ultimately, I'm simply using Krishna to establish my importance. You see, so the devotee is trying to give up this false ego, not necessarily certain things. Even meat. Sometimes devotees have to eat meat to preserve the body. That is allowed. If you have nothing to eat, you can even eat meat to preserve the body, so you can render service. So we're not stuck with these things. We utilize the austerity for Krishna consciousness. For a devotee, rules and regulations become subservient. Devotee is not a servant of rules and regulations. The rules and regulations become subservient to the devotee to assist in his devotional service. That's why we use the rules and regulations, to assist us in devotional service. If we do not follow the rules and regulations, our devotional service will be hampered. Right? And if we overly emphasize the rules and regulations, again, devotional service becomes hampered. That is why we have to follow the rules and regulations under the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master. If the spiritual master is not there, what is the use of these rules and regulations? Simply for external show. That is not very important. Just like vegetarianism. Someone might be vegetarian. Okay, he might be vegetarian for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. What he has accomplished? Absolutely nothing. But if that same vegetarian person offers something to Krishna, vegetarian, very good. You can offer that to Krishna. Vegetarians have a better facility. It's easier for them to take up devotional service. And he becomes first class vegetarian. So, yes, the super soul leaves the body at the time of liberation, merges with the Brahma Jyoti, because there is no super soul in the spiritual world, and the jiva goes back home. There's no super soul in the spiritual world. The soul and the body are one, as we discussed before, in the spiritual world, just like Krishna. So, Brahman is the all-pervading aspect of the absolute truth. Paramatma is localized in ever-living entity, its heart, and Bhagavan is the Supreme Personality. That is the topmost realization, and that includes the other two. So this is the complete understanding of God. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Savyate. These three. Mayavadis, they don't understand. They just think of the Brahman. Yogis, a little bit more advanced, they understand the localized aspect, but they still mistake. They think the localized aspect is Paramatma, that it is the Jiva. This is who I am. So only a devotee can understand that the Jiva is separate, God, Krishna, is separate. This is the confidential secret of the Vedas. Krishna already explained this in the beginning, when he gave the contents of the Bhagavad Gita in a summarized way. Natu evam jatu nasam natvam nemi jadamipaha nachainava bhavishama sarva bhayamatha param. Never was there a time when I did not exist, you nor all these kings. And never shall there be a time in the future when we cease to exist as individuals. That's another nice smash to the impersonalist, the shloka, in the second chapter, 12th verse. Okay, so any questions?
I'm not argue because
Yeah.
with this analogy of the father,
Mm-hmm.
because if you take actually, okay, you have a father,
Yeah.
but you also have a mother.
Yes.
So then it expands. Like you have two pairs of grandparents.
Yeah.
Right? And then each one of them also had a father and mother.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like just one line of a father, but it expands like to an unlimited number of people
Mm-hmm.
who had to get together to produce your father and mother.
Then to get together. It's always two.
Yeah, but I'm saying you are there. So you
Yeah.
have a father and mother.
Yes.
Then each one of them has a father and mother.
Yes.
Not that just your father has a father.
Yes.
Your mother also has a father.
Yes.
Right? So then you have two couples.
Mm-hmm.
Then each one of them has a father and mother.
All right.
So that's another multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
And then each one of that personality also has father and mother. So it's not one line of a father that you come to a point where I don't have a father, but it expands unlimitedly basically.
Yeah.
Someone might argue that it's not a very good analogy.
Why not? Father, you have to have.
Mm.
Okay, there might be many of these grandpas and grandmas, but there must be. There must be a person.
There's always a person.
You know, of course. If that one grandpa is missing, then you can't exist. You will not be conceived.
There must be many fathers who can say that I do not have a father. So they are all ultimate.
There might be many fathers.
Must be many fathers who would say that I don't have a father.
Well, yeah, but also, let's say Lord Brahma can create millions of fathers millions of children at the same time. You know, you sing from your frog in a well perspective. Oh, so many fathers. But for Lord Brahma is nothing. Look at Dwaraka. Krishna had billions of relatives or something like that. 64 million. I was reading this. 64 or 640 million of relatives in Dwaraka in such a small space. 640 million relatives. It's not a problem for Krishna to have like billion of kids. And you thinking, oh, so many fathers, one father can have billions of kids. That is beyond your capacity. Just because you cannot conceive so many kids doesn't mean that your grandfather couldn't conceive. Right? You have all these Prajapatis. Lord Brahma creates all the different species at the same time. All the different species.
Yeah, but for that you have to accept the Vedic version. Well, it's again just like we spoke the other day.
Yeah, why not? Why not accept the Vedic? What do you have? You were just speculating. Maybe it was like that. You have no evidence. We have some authority. So why don't you accept?
No, because you used the analogy. If you come to that father who says, I do not have a father, so then
Yeah, that is Krishna.
But they are there with that.
No, but Krishna has one son, Brahma.
No, that is what.
That is the first.
That is what your book says. You know?
No, but even you take it as a theoretical situation. Theoretically, you take this. Immediately, your theory is smashed.
Yeah, it's smashed because.
Yeah.
Because
your understanding is limited.
They themselves say that there was like the first cell, basically, or something.
Yes.
Like the first living organism.
Yeah.
So even that comes from a singular source.
Yeah, you're thinking in a very limited way. Why there should be only, so many children? It can be unlimited. One Brahma can have billions of kids, and then you with your limited logic, you thinking that these billions of kids must be conceived by trillions of grandpas because that's how it goes. Prabhupada said that in the same way that the lifespan, they were arguing about this lifespan, the lifespan is getting shorter. So in the Vedas, we have a different information. The lifespan they say that the life is increasing, the lifespan is increasing. As the age progresses, they have the statistics, as the ages progress, the age is increasing. Whereas the Vedas say that in Kali Yuga, the age is decreasing. As the time goes by, the age, the duration of life, lifespan is decreasing. So Prabhupada smashed it. He said, yes, now for the time being, for the last 50 years, it might be increasing, but you don't see the whole picture. You're just studying your tiny limited time period. But if you study from the point of view of thousands and thousands of years, you might see a different result. You follow? For the time being, okay, for now, for 50 years, it might be increasing. That is also questionable. Like, how do you keep the statistics? Can you make statistics of all the people who lived in the world? This is the first time that people have sort of an idea about the whole earth. Before it was all, divided.
Locally, you can keep statistics. It's like, yeah, but that's.
Well, can you keep some areas people don't know how to write?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Locally, you can
Yeah.
keep because you have some priest or a clerk, like you had the matrika.
Yeah.
In the church.
But also that is also limited.
You were born such and such. They would write it down.
Well, how do they know who's born in that particular place?
Or you have a village, right? There's 100 people, so
Yeah.
there's a child born.
So that means that out of the village no one is born?
No, there are people in other villages.
There might be Aborigines living in the jungle.
So, but
How do you keep statistics
when you
there?
have 1 million people living in towns and villages, and then you have 20 people living in a forest, so these 20 people, whether they have kids or not, statistically it has no.
But why you say 20? Why you say 20? Why you say 20?
Well, because people also move around these forests, right? It's not a Amazon jungle.
No, there might be 20 million
No,
living in a
20 million,
forest.
You would see them, 20 million.
See the
No,
eyes.
Prabhu, you have villages and then you have a forest in between the villages.
No,
People
if you
go
go by seeing is
people
imperfect.
go to collect wood, so if there are 20 million people in that forest, that you would meet them. But if there is,
No,
one
seeing is
person-
imperfect. You cannot see anything.
So, close your eyes and go. You
Yeah.
can't see anything.
Yeah, that is as good as seeing because your eyes are imperfect. So whether you tie your eyes or you go with your eyes are imperfect. Why so? You're basing your statistics on your eyes. We're basing our statistics on hearing from the Vedas.
Yeah, I'm explaining to you how they're counting.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm explaining how their counting is nonsense. So, again, we're so much proud of our imperfect senses and speculation. And we're trying to ascertain, it is like this, it is like that. Why that should be like the only possible way? Only through my logic and imperfect senses, that is the absolute truth.
So why do we keep accounts?
Huh?
Why do we keep accounts in the temple?
Account?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What? How many Lakshmi came? How many Lakshmi went out? Why do we keep accounts?
So we know.
Why? How do we know?
Huh?
You're imperfect. You know.
Yeah.
Senses. Whatever you write down is a nonsense.
Okay, so Krishna gives me intelligence. How to do it properly, I don't know. So that means that now the Vedas are imperfect because we keep imperfect accounts?
No, we should, hear from the Vedas what is the situation in the temple of the finances.
How?
I don't know, you explain to me. You just said that your statistic is nonsense because you're imperfect.
Yeah, statistic, when you say that the lifespan of people is increasing, that is against the Vedic version. So that is nonsense. And if you say,
no, but
because I have seen, that's why your Vedas are imperfect, because I have seen, that is nonsense.
That you have mentioned that Prabhupada said that you in that particular period may increase even.
Yeah.
But from the point of view. So that is what I was also trying to explain, that you can actually, it can increase, like they are carrying the statistics for the last, let's say, 200 years.
Okay.
Or 300 years, when it got systemized.
Yeah.
Who is born, who died.
Okay.
So they can count. You lived for 50 years.
Yes.
But they do not see the whole. Like what was going on in 12th century, who kept the count?
Even now they don't know the whole. Don't be fooled. Even now they don't know the whole.
Yeah, but that is the point of statistics. That you don't have to understand every particular case.
Well, that is
generalized.
That generalization might be imperfect.
But for some,
that's how the science.
Someone lives 90 years.
That's how the science works.
Someone lives 90 years. For him it counts. Someone dies 30, so for him it doesn't count.
One time I met a scientist on the street, and she was arguing this nonsense. And I said, "What is science?" Like, I said, "This is also science, our Bhagavad Gita." She said, "No, it's not science." I said, "Why not?" Because the scientific community have not agreed that it's science. Ultimately, that was her argument. If the scientific community votes that this is truth, then it is science. And if the scientific community says, no, this is not true, in other words, statistics, majority, if the majority opinion is favorable, then we accept it. If it's unfavorable, then we don't. So, there's such nonsense garbage, the statistics. Even they asked Prabhupada, are there more pure souls on the earth? The Prabhupada says, I do not keep statistics.
I barely went through the statistics course at my university. I almost got kicked out because of the statistics. I had to do it 5 times.
Okay. Alright, we'll close the class, unless you have any more. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Guru Premanandi Hari Hari.
Namo Mishta Paraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Guru Manindra Chari Nandin Vishesha Shunamari Bhajati Vishnu.
Jai. 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 Hari 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 Bol.
Swami Namaste Namaste Saraswati Guru Manindra